But the reason I remember that one is because you're talking about, look, the majority of the ummah is maybe not practicing, and you need to give some kind of path and trajectory to those people and bring them in. And Sheikh said to us once, a bunch of us in one of the programs, he's like, I don't want you to become a bunch of mini copies of Sheikh Haytham. Dawah needs to be dynamic. You need to have artists. You need to have
artists. What kind of artists?
Artists. Like Omar Isa is one of the brothers we had on the podcast. Very nice brother, mashallah.
What about instrument-based?
Nasheed artist.
What about instrument-based artists?
No, that's haram though, innit? Even then, look, you could argue.
What about shisha? What about shisha cafe?
Shisha cafes, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Someone could theoretically, argue for something like that. But these aren't things that you would say publicly, right? You just maybe overlook someone doing something on the sly. Yeah. But the point is, you have to, and this is Islam. This is Sharia, right? A lot of people say, no, Sharia is something that you have to implement everything and, all in one go and that kind of stuff. Because sometimes the way we talk about Sharia, because, on the minbar, for example, you say Islam is a complete system and that kind of stuff. That's completely right. But when it comes to implementing that in your life, you need to know, wait a second, no, you don't just implement everything that you find an injunction, a ruling somewhere. Implement that yourself. It requires some fatwa and scholarship and stuff.
Look, bro, putting the issue of Erdogan aside.
Right? Yeah, just an example.
Yeah. Just putting that aside. I think we shouldn't at the same time, discourage the aspiration, a noble aspiration of Muslims wanting to see a more comprehensive manifestation of Islam, both privately and publicly. Right. What I'm going to say is very controversial. Right, but it's something which I spoke to a number of counter-extremists and Syria-related experts on this issue. Yeah, one being an individual called Shiraz Mahir, right, of whom I disagree wholeheartedly on most issues.
He's King's College, right?
King's College, former HT, then became like a counter-radicalization guy at King's College. Yeah, most of the people, or a significant number of Muslims who went and joined ISIS in Syria, right, they were not ideologues. Right? Do you know a lot of portion of these people were? They were just people that just wanted to go and live in a more Islamic...
Islam for dummies.
No,
we saw that in some of the...
Some of them. But I'm saying that families went, but because they wanted to live in a more Islamic environment. Now, if we were to be honest to ourselves and we asked, is that sentiment incorrect? Well, it's a good sentiment. But the thing is, out of ignorance and out of obviously being duped into whatever they were told...
Could have just gone to Luton, though.
Yeah, true.
Tower Hamlets. But that's a very important thing. That feeling of not belonging. Yeah. That you don't belong here. You can't be a practicing Muslim. This isn't an Islamic enough society.
I don't think there is anything. Look, first and foremost, if you look at the whole world, right? As someone who's an ardent critic, right, of a number of Muslim governments as well as Western governments, right? I still believe that the UK, for now, is my home. Yeah. I feel I miss this country, man. When I'm abroad, it's not a completely widespread feeling, though. What you feel, though. What do you mean? Because I'm not that old, but I remember I'm 34, I think now. I remember there was a lot of hijrah talk when I was a young whippersnapper. No, there's more hijrah talk now, bro. Yeah. There's more hijrah. That's the thing. So people don't feel that this is... I think, at least amongst Bengalis and Pakistanis, I can't comment on Indians, right? But definitely Bengalis and Pakistanis, when you refer back to back home, it will always be back home. Bangladesh, Pakistan will always be back home. It's just in our lingo. Right, it's just instilled. It's memory. Yeah, but it's there. But when you go back home, you start missing the UK. You know what I mean? Yeah. When you look at the toilets. Yeah, you look at even Maro. Yeah, I need to go back. But the point is, for now, and I've consistently maintained this: the UK, for me anyway, is still one of the most comfortable and easiest places to be a Muslim and to practice Deen. However, there is a caveat, however. That does not mean that you become a subservient and see yourself as a subject of the state. You are a citizen of this country. You see yourself as equal, and not just an equal, someone who has something to offer. Yeah? So my issue is with those who are blindly subservient, think of themselves as colonial subjects. Let's be honest. Oh, they get allowed.
You're talking about the counter-radical.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, look, man. At the end of the day,
prevent people.
Man are here. Most of us are here, right, from the Indo-Pak Bangladesh community as well as the Caribbeans. We're here because after World War II, the ratio to men to women was 1-3, sick time in it, yeah. And so obviously the women were in the factories, they were doing all the labor work, and there was no one to produce families. So they needed people from the empire to come to rebuild this country. And most of our forefathers came here without the intention of actually staying here. It was to work here, send money back home, but they settled here. So the point is, we've played a crucial and pivotal role in rebuilding and making this country great again, yeah? If it was ever great in the first place. But the point here is, I think there's a fine line between understanding and appreciating your role as a citizen, as someone to offer something to society. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong in aspiring to wanting to live in a society which is more reflective of your Islamic values. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Unscripted.